Hello everyone, this is Diane, and I'm working on a Victorian style journal for my mother for Mother's Day. She said that she loves the Victorian era and her favorite color is purple. The kit that I'm using is Victorian Parlor by, and I can't remember right off the bat. I think if I read one of these edges that I cut off, I can tell you. Screech Owl Studios. And the colors aren't really purple. I guess I wasn't ready for this part. See, this is what they look like. So they're more pink than purple, but they're very aged looking. But I am using purple fabrics and trims to try to bring out some purple. There's a little bit of purple. So I am making two journals, one for my mother in purple and one to sell in pink. I might end up with three, but it all depends on how much time I have. I have to get it done by Mother's Day. I want to have all of them done by Mother's Day because I have another project I have to have done by the 15th. So I'm pressed for time right now. But this is what I've done this morning. I've decided to make a one signature softcover journal. So I took cardstock and I put, it's 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and I did a 1/2 inch spine on it. I just put it on my scoreboard and just found the middle spot and then moved out a 1/4 inch on each side. And then I covered it with this beautiful lace and some other pieces of lace and fabric. This is actually a piece of fabric. If I can find it here. This is a piece of fabric, and I cut out some of the images and the roses and the butterfly. I have a yellow butterfly floating around here, literally. That's going to be glued on. Where was I going to glue it? Right here. But I lost it. If I don't come across it, I'll just cut out another one, but I know it'll turn up. So this is what I've done so far. I just laid the things on and stitched them on, zigzag stitched all around them. There's a little piece of Indian silk here, but I thought with the colors and the rich gold embroidery that it looked good with the Victorian theme. There's a piece of a wide eyelet here, and this is from the fabric. And some lace. So that's as far as I've gotten. I cut the lace background out wide enough that I could fold it over the edges. So I pretty much did the same thing with this one, except with pink colors, and I used two different images from the fabric. This is from a bridal gown right here. A few other pieces of fabric here. So what we're going to do now is the inside of the cover. And I have this Tyvek. I just cut this strip of Tyvek, and I'm going to, I guess I'll glue it down and let it dry before I do anything else. So let's do that right now. I just got a text from my son-in-law that his brother is here mowing, and I don't know if that means my son-in-law is downstairs because his brother doesn't drive. So I don't know if he rode his bike over or if Justin brought him. So anyway, my lawn's getting mowed. And I've started this video, and I'm not going to stop it to go downstairs and see if Justin's hanging out down there. He's probably outside. Thank you all for purchasing the 5 journals that I listed yesterday. That was so awesome. So awesome. I know I got them done fast, but I worked super hard. I worked like overtime, and I'm going to be working overtime this week to get all of these things done by the 15th. Oh, then I might have to take a week off of making journals just so I can clean up and organize and maybe get some more things listed in my shop. So there's Tyvek on there. I ironed this piece of fabric that I'm going to sew on there, and then I'll trim around the edges. But I don't want to sew it until that glue is really dry. So I'm wondering if I want to put a pocket on the inside. I guess I'll figure that out later. And for this one, I have this piece ready to sew on. You can see the Tyvek through these fabrics, the bit of white, but I guess that's okay. Well, I'm waiting for those to dry. I have another piece. I think if I just get the cover ready for a third one, since it's only going to be one signature per book, if I have the cover ready, then I think that I will go ahead and do it. We'll see. Now this is stained, but it's a vintage piece and it's stained, and I'm going to use it. It's even got a cigarette hole in it. So I printed that kit, that journal kit, before I started on the 5 journals that I just listed. And do you think I can find what I did with them? I found some of the pockets and tags and things. Well, I guess I found all of the ones that I had printed. I hadn't printed them all. But I know I printed the pages, because I printed them front and back. And I can't find them. And I don't have time to keep looking, so I printed more, which means I'll have to make more journals out of this kit at some point when I find them. Can't let all that printer ink go to waste. So frustrating though. So I'm going to let this hang off at the bottom. I'll just sew this part on right now. I'll just do a little bit of work on this cover, and then when I think that glue is dry, I'll keep working on those. Can you hear the lawnmower? Want to get that bottom on there straight. And now I'm going to stitch down the center. Fabric tends to shift. I did this with the lace, and I couldn't glue the lace down. I could put a little glue on this, like in strategic places, to help hold it in place. I'm doing it in the centers of those flowers because it's thicker there and the glue won't show through or seep through maybe. Now I have to let that glue dry. Okay, this is probably dry now. So I'm going to let this hang off just a little bit. And I'll stitch it down the center first. Use big basting stitches so I can remove them if I want to. basting stitches are the longest stitch on your machine. They're easy to pull out. See how good I did in getting it centered. That's pretty good. Got it centered. Now that I have that part sewn down and it won't shift so much, I'm going to sew around. And I'll use the zigzag stitch. You could certainly cover this with paper on the inside. I can kind of see through this fabric to where the edge of the cardstock is. I don't know how well that will work on that purple polka dot. Okay, so this, you can see, pulled down a little bit, so part of the cardstock is showing. So I'll have to leave some lace up there. I didn't leave it quite long enough to cover everything. I'm going to trim this off. You can see where that hangs down. That looks nice. So I'll do this one now. Just going to put some glue here. I won't be sewing in that area, so I don't have to let it dry. I can see the edge of that card. Well, not as well as on the other one. I can feel it. Since it's glued down, I should have just flipped it over and done it on the other side. So I don't know how well I'm doing sticking to the edge. I did pretty well. And up here, I'm going to have to glue something up here too to cover up that where the cardstock shows. These are my better scissors. So I wasn't sure if I was going to just glue paper down on the inside or use fabric, but I decided to go ahead and use fabric. I'm going to stitch across this top again because I went off, so I'm cutting off part of the zigzag stitching as I trim it and cutting those threads, so I'm going to reinforce that. This one does have a little bit of scallop peeking over, so I want to be careful to not cut those off. I have to hold it where I can see it. That's not working very well. I'll trim that more carefully when you're not watching, because I have to hold it right up to my face. Now here we have this. I'm going to sew all the way around this one. I think Justin might be knocking on my back door. So that's going to be it for this video, and I will return.